Hi there. I am Bono. Wait. Blue-eyed boy meets a brown-eyed girl. Oh. Hi, I'm Bono. Take me higher. Wait, just in case you were wondering, I am not Bono. Don't be fooled. Anyways, but I'm a fan of Bono, and I am a big fan of U2. In fact, U2 is probably the number one band, the number one influence on me as a musician. And just as a fan, I'm a huge fan of U2. Okay, so Bono's new book is coming out November 1st, I believe. It's called Surrender, and I'm very excited for the book. I read this book. It's been a long time, but U2 by U2 came out. I don't know when it came out, but it follows the band from when they got together, and even before that, because there's like little bios for each member that take you back all the way to the beginning. When they get together, all the way to about how to dismantle an atomic bomb, which is the Vertigo album, and that's where it ends. So it's a very, very good book. If you're a fan of U2 and you haven't read that one, I recommend it very much so. It's very, very good. The way it's written is like all four band members. It's like in paragraphs. It's chronological in order, and they give their. It's really cool because they give their memories and their take on like situations, like the same situation, and it's cool to see all the different point of views, and it's beautifully put together, and I enjoyed every single page of this book, and so Bono's new book, it's called Surrender, and it's a memoir, and I believe 40 songs. He chose 40 of his own songs to kind of get into those songs and tell his own story in line with those songs. I believe it's something like that. And it's about himself. I don't know where it starts or where it ends. Don't know details like that. I don't know if details like that are even available. But I do believe yesterday now, Rolling Stone put out a little excerpt of the book, and it was the story that we've all heard about, us U2 fans kind of know about, which is, I believe it was 1978, right? Going into Larry Mullen's kitchen, and that's where U2 met up for the first time. We've heard that story quite a bit. It's in this book, and all four members talk about it in this book. I've read about it and heard about it in many interviews. So it was a little surprising to me that that's the excerpt he chose, or whoever chose, to put out first. And what has me a little concerned, and I'm very excited about the book as well, but a little concerned is that it had a very poetic feel. Now, Bono's reading this excerpt, and he's very good at audio like this. As he's gotten older, he's got a very good speaking voice, and so I believe an audio version is going to be available as well. But what has me a little concerned is that it's quite poetic in the way he's saying it, and Bono's a great poet, and he's a great lyricist, and one of the greatest lyricists that we have in music. But the way I see it is that's how he writes his songs, and while he is choosing 40 of his own songs, there's that to consider, and he's putting this all together. Maybe it does need to have a little poetic edge to it, feel to it. But since we know this story, we've already heard the raw story of it. And I feel like autobiographies, memoirs, they're quite raw. And so it kind of felt weird to kind of get a poetic feel when hearing this story we've all heard before. And it had illustrations as well, which were really cool as well. And, once again, I am looking forward to the book, and if it's anything like this book, I'm gonna love it, and I'm probably gonna love it anyways, because just anything U2 releases, I'm a big fan, and it's always fun to get something new from the band or from any of the members of the band. But those concerns are there because over time, Bono's become a little bit more. I guess the best word I can use for this is it's a little bit more of a rigid portrayal of his character. You never really knew what you were gonna get with Bono, like even all the way up until like 2001, 2002, even 2004. But as time went on, he started getting a little bit more into activism, philanthropy, and that side of Bono, which I believe a lot of the book is going to have. There's just no way at this point. As a fan, you know how it is. You get a whole 2 hour show. You know you're gonna get a little bit here and there of that, and that's not necessarily a bad thing. And I'm not saying that Bono's organizations and charities have not helped thousands, maybe even millions of people on this planet. So that's a very, very good thing. And I'm not claiming to know anything really about the depths of his organizations, of his charities, and how that works, because it's very complicated. So I'm going to keep that vague, because it's not like I know. But I do know this, that since that's been a big part of who he is, he's become a little bit more, I'm going to go back to that word, rigid. Like, you never really knew what he was going to say, but as time has gone on, you kind of do know what he's going to say now. Maybe that's, as a fan and a supporter of the band, maybe that's my fault or even our fault for tuning in so much to the band. As in, you kind of start memorizing the things they say or what they play, or you know, like when U2 goes on tour, or U2 gigs, makes a compilation, or they list down all the songs they play every gig. And so we're like, oh, they're playing the same songs over and over. It's like, well, yeah, we're the ones tuning in every gig to watch because it's exciting, and I will still do it because it's fun. But maybe it's something like that. Like we just tune into his interviews. You kind of know what he's gonna say, but at the same time, I do believe that his answers have become a little more static, and at this point, it just become theories. So as he's become more affiliated with these big groups and charities, and the responsibilities grow, and it's a corner he's kind of backed himself into. I really believe that. That's just my theory. Because when you're trying to make all these people happy, and he said it himself, that sometimes you got to sit down with people you don't want to get things you want, you know, and we've heard those stories quite a bit over the years, and I think that's kind of what we're seeing here. And I want you to think about this for a second. Like, Bono has been traveling around lately promoting the book, and he's going to do a tour that seems really cool. I believe tickets are still on sale. I'm not 100% sure if they've sold out already. But he's gonna go on tour here in the U.S. and talk about the book, I guess. And just recently he sang some songs and talked about the book. Before that, he did that big old, I don't even know what you call it, but it's, I believe, called Dreamforce. And YouTube played that several years back. Big old show. And there was countless videos on YouTube. I got to watch the whole show on YouTube. It's a big show. And even when he does his speeches at these kind of forums, you know, these big forums like the ones in Davos, you would always see footage. It's really strange to me how right now, if you go on YouTube and search the last like 5 or 6 things he's done recently, some of them to promote the book, there's nothing. You can't find anything on YouTube right now. I believe there was one small clip that I saw where he's talking about the Queen at, I believe, the forum in Davos. I guess the World Economic Forum speech he gave. There was a small little clip that I saw from that, and I believe that's obviously not to promote his book. That's for other reasons. So it's kind of weird to me that there's just nothing. Like, maybe when he goes and does these speeches, it's like turn your phones off. But that was never the case in the past. Like, it was pretty much an open book. In fact, Bono is very giving with his time he spends with fans. If you compare it to other bands, I mean, they're so big. He's such a big celebrity. Like, he doesn't have to do this, but when they play, he usually comes in, he'll sign some autographs, he'll talk to people, and he's pretty nice. Like, you'll see it. A lot of other musicians, even some in his own band, will spend less times. You would think, oh, Bono, yeah, he's probably just gonna pass it up, and you know, he's got to go meet the mayor of a city or something. And no, he spends a lot of time with his fans when he's close to them like that, and that's very impressive for someone as big and famous as he is. But I have noticed over time that it's become a little more static. What he says, you know, we all know he's going to say America's a great idea. We all know, I've heard him say stuff like, we can't be a monster to defeat a monster. These ideas, you know, that he tends to say, and if he's getting older, of course. But my whole point in talking about this is that I do fear a little bit that this book is more of a launching pad for the friends he has in high places. You know, that corner that I think he's kind of backed himself into to do the good he wants to do and to do the things he wants to do. All of a sudden there's more responsibilities and he can't be he just can't have that free tongue that he used to have. You know, and I have noticed it. It's become a little bit more the interviews aren't as fun. They're not as off the cuff, you know, and that can be a little frustrating as someone who follows the band and you know, Bono in general. So I hope that that Surrender follows a similar energy that this one has, but I'm a little reserved with it right now, to be honest with you. 1 second. It really is a real thing. Like the lack of footage, there seems like there's something going on, you know. And I've heard there's rumors for some shows next year in Vegas. It's just rumors, I guess. A tour. There's always been a few different albums, you know, being cooked with U2 that fans kind of know about. Whether it's re-recording some of the older songs, which I kind of hope that's not the case, but most fans just want a new album, you know, and they know that. But sometimes, and this is just a theory, I do feel like this thing that Bono's got himself into, where he has to make other people happy in high places, I think it has him in this place where he's fully put himself in this world and accepted it to where, like, I'll be honest, Songs of Experience to me was sort of a letdown compared to Songs of Innocence. And Songs of Innocence suffered the fate of being put on people's iPhones. Excuse me. I was very happy. Us U2 fans were probably mostly kind of happy. I was like, oh, a new album's coming out. Oh, it's on my phone and it's free. That's awesome. But everybody else was kind of angry. And, you know, this is also several years after Bono was seen as number 2 in South Park. So they've had their share of, you know, bad press. They didn't need that going into this. And to be honest, Sounds of Innocence is quite awesome. It's a great album in my opinion, especially the second half of it. I believe that was with the other producer. The first half was kind of more the other producer. I like the second half, but I do like the first half too. Nevertheless, the whole album, I liked it quite a bit. Songs of Experience, something felt wrong with it to me. For one, they announced it right after Songs of Innocence. And so people were expecting it rather quickly. It didn't come that quick. Because supposedly it was something like Bono wanted to rewrite some lyrics and re-sing some of those parts. And that right there is actually what kind of failed the album to me. Now, I'm not saying anything politically of what you need to believe or not believe. You know, you could be on the left, you could be on the right, you could be wherever you are on the political spectrum, or even in culture. We can all have our different beliefs, but it felt, because people say, oh, U2's always kind of been a political band, they've always talked about these things. Yeah, but you know what, I don't think it's ever felt so forced, and that's what it felt like with me on Songs of Experience. I felt like there's lines like, she had a smack in the mouth. And I really like the song "Get Out of Your Own Way," but when I hear lines like that, she had a smack in the mouth and it all went south like freedom, it just feels wrong to me. It doesn't feel as well thought out as some of Bono's lyrics have always been in the past, and I don't think they've aged very well, in my opinion. That the Blackout has some lines like that. They're scattered on the album like that, and I really feel that kind of hurts the album, in my opinion. Whereas maybe in the past they were better thought out, and you know, this is going to age better than this, and you know, I feel like he just had to, like, that's the world he has thrown himself into now. That it's almost like, I got to do this. This is my life now. I have to say this. And whether it's good or bad for the arts, I feel like the activist Bono and the philanthropist Bono takes precedent over the artist Bono, and it's becoming evident within the band. And that is my fear for the book, that it's just a launching pad for these ideas and not really about the artist Bono, which is the one I think most of us are interested in. Granted, his charities, his activism, I'm sure has helped lots of people, But when you're dealing with people in high places like he is, there's going to be a lot of responsibilities, and you are going to get more tight-lipped, and you're going to become more rigid, and that's exactly what I've seen. So I'm still going to enjoy it. I'm still going to buy it, and I'm probably going to make a few different video vlogs about this book, maybe before I get it, after I get it, kind of my review, stuff like that. Being a YouTube fan can be quite challenging at times because, like I mentioned, the iPhone thing, the other one, you know, the South Park episode was funny, super funny. He probably even found it funny. It's quite good. I love the part where Stan is like, I had the second place trophy for a certain a subscription. He's like, I got the first place. That's hilarious. But yeah, it's kind of like, okay, I've spent some time playing in cover bands. One of the real interesting aspect of U2 as a band is that they don't have a lot of casual fans. Like, if I play Sweet Child of Mine in a bar, and there's 100 people, there's like 60 people going, woo! No matter how many times they've heard it. Sublime, Santeria, woo! Mysterious Ways, there's like 3 people that are like insanely happy about it because they don't hear it very often. Cover bands don't touch up on U2 too much, and if they do, it's probably With or Without You or something like that. Yeah, they don't have as many casual fans as like a GNR or like a Metallica or a Bon Jovi. It's just the way it is. They kind of are an acquired taste. The thing about U2 where they benefit is that they're so good live in concert that when people see them, and you know, this started a long time ago, they got hooked in. And people will travel across the country, across the world, because they know they're going to get something special. I've seen them in Denver for 360. I saw them in Madison Square Garden for Songs of Experience tour, which was great. I think it was like night 6. The night that we got 2 Hearts Beat as One for the first time. That was cool. It was kind of funny because on the 360 show, my wife was like, I really want him to play Hold Me, Thrill Me, Kiss Me. Right? Hold Me, Thrill Me, Kill Me. Is it Kiss Me in there? Yeah. And like, no, they haven't played that since like the Pop tour. Like, that's not gonna happen. And then they started rehearsing in America, and lo and behold, there it was. Hold Me, Thrill Me. They played it, and it was one of the best parts of the night. So she got very lucky with that. Then 2 Hearts Beat as One, and then in the last concert I saw them at Joshua Tree in New Orleans, and I believe we got an encore of I Will Follow with Edge playing a Stratocaster for the Bono said it was the first time that he's ever played it on a Stratocaster. I'm sure you can find it on YouTube instead of his Explorer guitar, which was so the 3 special things. See, it's like you never really know. It's always kind of fun going to a U2 show. A little bit like, you know, people go see Tool because they're like, you know, it's this big show, you know, where we're gonna get big sound, big visuals, great musicianship. The only difference between Tool and U2 is Tool's got a lot of street cred because in the genre they play in, it's not like this commercial sort of thing. You don't see, you know, Maynard hanging out with, you know, presidents and stuff, you know, and you know, over the years he actually kind of does hang out with more people now. At least he does more interviews now. But yeah, like Bono's. You know, he's going to these big forums, and he's hanging out with these high people, you know, politicians and leaders, and they play pop rock music and you know, rock music, but it's, you know, it's a little, you know, definitely more pop than Tool. So U2 doesn't have the street cred that Tool has, you know, and Tool's accepted in the metal community, so stuff like that, in the hard rock community. And you're always gonna get more street cred when you got that sort of thing going for you in the musicianship. U2 songs are generally pretty easy to play. I mean, not necessarily, but a lot of their expertise comes in the small things like the lyrics, the songwriting, the simple songwriting, the sound, the way they play together, all 4 members. So, but I do bring the similarities of going to see Tool, like that it's special, that, you know, you're gonna tell someone else about it, and it's this experience, this, and you know it's better live than it is on the record. And that's what U2 brings to the table, without the street cred, of course. you have to, instead of being automatically, oh yeah, I'm sure Tool's great, people are going to be like, what? U2, really? They're great live? And it's like, yeah, there they are. And my wife, when we went to go see the 360 show, she went to the restroom right before the show started. And she was like freaked out that like when Space Oddity came out, she was in the restroom. And she said, everyone just ran out. And I'm like, yeah, they know everything. The fans of U2 when they go to a concert already know everything. They follow every show. And, you know, in the last 4 or 5 years, 6 years, there's a lot of us that are starting to have to put up with the whole other side of Bono. Like this, okay, and we know it's coming, and we're not necessarily against it by any means. It's just we've seen that it's controlling the art, and it's holding it back somewhat. It's kind of obvious. It's just my theory, but in my theory, I feel it's kind of obvious. So take it with a grain of salt. I hope the book is great, but you know, I'm ready for it if it's kind of like, you know, a favor for people that want certain narratives, and himself at this point that believes in these narratives and these ideas. So anyway, that's what I got to say. It's 21 minutes already. Nevertheless, U2 is one of the bands that have influenced me as a musician and just as a person. Like, their music has hit me in a very deep way, and I think at the end of the day, that's what it does for a lot of people. Not a lot of bands have that effect on people. Their music does that for people. The people that get it, you know, and it's like, yeah. And anyways, looking forward to it. Hope you enjoyed this video blog. Until next time, rock on. Wait.